If you've ever seen someone get into cars and then disappear a few months later, it's usually not because they lost interest. It's because they bought the wrong first platform. They buy something modern and fragile, packed with electronics, locked behind special software, and the first time it throws a warning light, the hobby turns into stress. Suddenly, it's not fun. It's just bills, downtime, and guesswork. The right first car does the opposite. It makes you better. It gives you feedback. It's simple enough to understand, but serious enough to teach you real fundamentals. And it has a community so big you're never truly stuck. There's one BMW platform that checks every box. A car that's responsible for turning thousands of beginners into lifelong BMW people. The E46 3 Series. And in this video, I'm going to break down exactly why the E46, BMW's 1999 to 2005 3 Series, is still the best platform to buy if you want to get into cars and into BMWs in today's day and age. What makes it special, what it teaches you, what to look for, what to avoid, and how to buy one the smart way so you end up with a car you can learn on, trust, and actually enjoy. Let's get into it. Ever wonder why you still see so many old BMWs on the road? Not the brand new lease specials. I'm talking about the ones that have no business still being alive. The 2001 330i with 220,000 miles. The 2003 325i that starts every morning like it's offended you even doubted it. The paint might be tired, the headliner might be sagging, but the car is still doing car things every single day. That's not luck. That's the E46. And here's the truth that most people won't tell you. If you're trying to get into cars, really get into cars today, the worst thing you can do is buy something too modern, too complicated, too locked down. A car you can't diagnose, can't modify, can't understand without dealership software and a subscription. Because then you're not learning cars. You're learning how to pay for cars. But the E46 BMW 3 Series hits this perfect window where it's modern enough to be comfortable, but old enough to be honest. It's the best platform for someone to buy if they want to understand BMWs, build real skills, and end up with a car that actually feels like a BMW is supposed to feel. I've seen people buy an E46 as their first project car, and two things happen. Either they treat it like a cheap beater and it punishes them, or they take care of it, do the right maintenance, and it turns them into a real car person fast. So in this video, I'm going to break down exactly why the E46 is the best car and the best platform for getting into cars and BMWs today. What makes it special, what to look for, what to avoid, and how to buy one the smart way so you don't end up with a money pit. No hype, no fantasy, just the truth. Let's get into it. Number 1, it teaches you what driver's car actually means. A lot of people say driver's car, but they've never driven one. They've driven fast cars or loud cars or cars with a giant screen and a launch control button. But a real driver's car is about connection, steering feel, chassis balance, weight transfer, brake modulation, the stuff that makes you better. The E46 is one of the last affordable cars that gives you that classic BMW recipe. Inline-six power, rear-wheel drive, balanced chassis, and steering that still talks back to you. You don't need 400 horsepower to have fun. You need a car that communicates. The E46 does that. It feels alive at normal speeds, which is important because most people aren't tracking their car every weekend. And if you ever do decide to autocross or take it to a track day, the E46 is the kind of platform that rewards skill. You can feel what you did wrong. You can feel what you did right. That feedback is how you learn. Modern cars hide mistakes. The E46 exposes them, and that's why it teaches you faster. Number 2, it's the perfect mechanic-friendly BMW. Let's be real. BMW has a reputation and some of it is deserved, but here's the difference. Newer BMWs aren't necessarily worse engineered. They're just harder to own without tools, software, and deep pockets. You get electronic this, modules that, programming, coding, subscription diagnostics, sealed components, and you end up stuck. The E46 is from the era where you can still do a lot with basic tools and patience. You can actually access things. You can actually replace things. You can actually learn. And it's not just easy to work on in a general sense, it's internet solved. There are write-ups for everything, videos for everything, torque specs everywhere, parts lists everywhere. People have made every mistake you're about to make and they posted the fix. That matters when you're starting out. Because the easiest way to quit the car hobby is to buy something with no support and no answers, then get stuck on step 2. The E46 doesn't do that to you. It's one of the most documented enthusiast platforms of all time. Number 3. The inline-6 engines are a masterclass in why BMW got famous. If you're getting into BMWs, you want to understand the heart of the brand. That means the inline-6. On the E46, your main engines are the M52TU and M54, depending on year and model. And these engines are special for one reason. They're smooth, torquey, and simple enough to understand, but advanced enough to feel premium. They're not complicated like a modern turbo direct injection engine with multiple cooling circuits and sensors stacked on sensors. But they're not basic either. You learn about VANOS. You learn about crankcase ventilation. You learn about cooling system weaknesses. You learn how a BMW behaves when it's healthy and how it behaves when it's not. And if you take care of these engines, they can run a very long time, but you have to respect the maintenance. Which brings me to the next point. Number 4, it forces you to learn the most important skill in the car world, preventive maintenance. Anybody can buy parts. Anybody can bolt on an intake. Anybody can slap wheels on a car. What separates someone who owns a project from someone who understands cars is maintenance discipline. The E46 is perfect for that because it has a short list of known weak points that are not optional. And if you handle them, the car is solid. Ignore them, and the car becomes the horror stories people love to repeat. Here's the reality. An E46 doesn't usually die from one big surprise. It dies from neglect. It dies because someone ran it low on coolant, ignored the warning signs, and drove it like a Camry. So if you own an E46, you learn quickly that you can't be lazy. You learn to inspect. You learn to baseline. You learn to fix small issues before they become big issues. And that skill transfers to every car you ever own. Number 5, parts are available, affordable, and there's an upgrade path for everything. This is where the E46 becomes unbeatable as a platform. If you're getting into cars, you need a car where parts don't feel like punishment. You need a car where you can buy OEM quality components, upgrade where it matters, and not bankrupt yourself. The E46 has a massive aftermarket, huge OEM parts availability, and a clear ladder of upgrades. Want it to be a clean daily? You can do OEM refresh parts and keep it stock. Want it to be a street build? Suspension, bushings, wheels, brakes, intake, exhaust, tune, done. Want it to be a drift car? There are a million setups people already run. Want it to be a track car? Coilovers, reinforcement, cooling upgrades, brake ducts, proper alignment, everything exists. And if you're into the whole OEM plus vibe, the E46 is basically the king of that. You can make it drive like a much newer car just by restoring and tightening the chassis. That's the key a lot of people miss. On an E46, maintenance is performance. A fresh cooling system, refreshed bushings, good tires, and proper alignment can make a tired E46 feel brand new. And it will shock you how good a slow car feels when it's set up right. Number 6. It teaches you chassis fundamentals like no other cheap platform. Most beginner car builds start wrong. People chase horsepower before the car is healthy, before the chassis is tight, before the driver has skill. The E46 makes you focus on fundamentals because you can actually feel them. Bushings matter, engine mounts matter, control arms matter, sway bar end links matter, rear subframe bushings matter, differential mounts matter. And because the E46 is so popular, you can learn what each change does. You can do one upgrade at a time and actually feel the difference. That's how you learn. You're not just throwing parts at a problem, you're building an understanding. And that's what turns you into someone who can drive, diagnose, and build. Number 7, it's modern enough to daily, old enough to stay analog. This is a big deal in today's day and age. You want a car that's usable, heat works, AC can work. Highway driving isn't miserable. It has airbags. It has stability systems depending on trim and year. It has OBD2 diagnostics. But you also want a car that doesn't feel like a video game. The E46 sits right in the middle. You get comfort, you get the classic BMW interior layout. You get a car that still feels like a real car, not a rolling iPad. And when something goes wrong, it usually tells you in a way you can understand. Number 8, the community is massive and that protects you. This one is underrated. When you buy an E46, you're not alone. There are forums, groups, YouTube channels, DIY guides, and entire businesses built around supporting this chassis. That means you can find used parts. You can find DIY solutions. You can find exact symptoms that match yours. You can find someone who already fixed it and posted the steps. And when you're starting out, that community support is the difference between progress and quitting. Because you will get stuck, everyone does. The question is whether your platform gives you a way out. The E46 does. Number 9. It's one of the cheapest entry points into real BMW ownership that still matters. A lot of people get into BMWs through the wrong door. They buy the cheapest modern BMW they can find, with turbos, direct injection, complicated electronics, and deferred maintenance. Then the car breaks, they get scared, and they walk away thinking BMWs are trash. No, they just bought the wrong BMW for their experience level. The E46 is the right door. It's affordable enough to get into, it's iconic enough to feel special, and it's mechanical enough to teach you the brand without drowning you in systems. It's the car that makes you understand why BMW people love BMWs. And once you understand that, you can move up to anything. Number 10, it has a baseline formula that works every single time. If you want to do this smart, here's the formula that separates a great E46 experience from a nightmare. Step 1, buy the right example. Don't chase the cheapest one. Don't chase the one with the most mods. Don't chase the one with the fanciest wheels and the loudest exhaust. You want the most boring, maintained, documented E46 you can find. Service history beats everything. Step 2, baseline it before you modify it. Cooling system refresh, fluids, belts, hoses, vacuum lines, intake boots, CCV system if needed, VANOS seals if needed, suspension inspection, brake inspection, tires. Make it healthy. Step 3, make it tight. Bushings and mounts, control arm, rear trailing arm bushing, sway bar links, shocks and struts, alignment. This is where the E46 transforms. Step 4, then you mod. Wheels and tires that fit correctly, suspension setup that matches your goal, brake pads and fluid, maybe a tune if applicable, maybe an intake or exhaust for sound. But only after the car is right. That's the E46 path, and it works. Now I know what you're thinking. Okay, but what about the problems? Everyone says E46s are unreliable. Here's the honest answer. They're not unreliable, they're unforgiving. There's a difference. An E46 will not tolerate neglect. It's not a car you can abuse and ignore like a basic commuter. It's a precision car from an era where BMW assumed owners would maintain them like a premium vehicle. So yes, if you buy a neglected E46, it will hurt you. But if you buy a decent one and you do the known maintenance, it becomes one of the most satisfying cars you can own for the money. And that's why it's the best platform. Because it doesn't just give you a car. It gives you skills. It gives you confidence. It gives you the ability to understand, diagnose, and build, not just consume. And in today's day and age, where so many cars are turning into sealed appliances, a platform like the E46 is rare. It's the bridge between old-school mechanical and modern usability. It's the car that teaches you what a BMW is supposed to be. And if you stick with it, it can carry you from, I want to get into cars, to, I actually know what I'm doing. So here's the bottom line. The E46 isn't the best because it's perfect. It's the best because it's honest. It rewards good maintenance, it exposes bad habits, and it teaches you fundamentals that carry over to every car you touch after it. In a world where cars are getting more locked down, more computerized, and harder to work on, the E46 is still a platform you can understand with your hands, your ears, and a basic set of tools. Buy a clean one, baseline it, keep up with the known weak points, and you won't just end up with a BMW, you'll end up with experience. And that's the real value. If you want, the next video can be the buying guide that saves people from the usual mistakes. Which model to choose, 325i versus 330i? Which years are the best? What mileage is too risky? What maintenance receipts matter? The red flags in listings? And the first 5 things you should replace the week you bring it home. Because the difference between a legendary E46 and a nightmare E46 isn't luck. It's how you buy it and how you take care of it. Generate me 10 images that relates to the text throughout the text.